Everyone, tonight I want to say something very specific, very point blank, very direct to the point, very scriptural, something that we would need to pay attention to as a matter of prime importance and a matter of direct accountability to God. Now the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and that when he is old, he shall not depart from it. That's the matter that I would like to talk about briefly tonight. Now, what does it mean to train? What does it mean to train up? What does it mean to train up a child? Now, we are taking these words one after the other just to have their basic meaning semantically. Now, to train means to transfer values, skills, and to transfer knowledge. To transfer necessary values, skills, and knowledge. Training is different from nursing. Nursing a child involves feeding the child, involves clothing the child, involves shelter for the child, involves schooling the child, involves little basic needs be met. Little needs, and maybe major needs also be met. Meeting the needs of the child is different from training the child. And you know, a lot of times, I see a lot of people, you ask them, why are you not yet married? They say, I don't have money to take care of children yet. So there is a general mindset and opinion that what people actually need to prepare for in order to begin to have children is money to provide, to make provisions, which is very important. Very important. We cannot overemphasize the need for necessary basic provisions to be able to meet the demands that come with having children. But I want to also say this very clearly, that the Bible did not bring forth an injunction that prioritized nursing, providing, and catering for the needs, the basic needs: food, water, clothing, shelter, schooling, and as we may add, and so on and so forth, in the life of a child. There is something more important, and that is what the Bible calls the training. Now, let me say this. Training a child is different from nursing a child. Training involves the impartation and the transference of values, the impartation and the shaping of character, the shaping of attitude, the shaping of actions and reactions, the provision of the basic principles that should shape the mindset, that should shape the value system of that child. And so the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. Now, so the blueprint for the training is not with the child. The blueprint for the training is with the trainer. Or, let me put it this way to be more realistic, the blueprint for the training is not supposed to be with the child. The blueprint for the training is supposed to, or is expected to, be with the trainer. So a lot of times, the very abnormal turning of the table happens in many, many homes, in many, many families. 80 to 90% of families have this basic challenge. And it is more facilitated. Well, there are families where the man is more conscious of the training. There are others where the woman is more deliberate about the training. But whichever way, there is always one person in the union, mostly mothers. But of course, there are cases where fathers are also involved in this, where the basic concern and focus is provisional, nurturing, nursing, and not training. And of course, I wouldn't be surprised. It can be expected, because that's why many times there is a statement that is, there is a way mothers are mostly described. They are called nursing mothers when they have babies. Nursing mothers. Now, that is only supposed to be applicable during the first stages of the child's life. The moment your child begins to clock age 1, values are supposed to begin to be the priority. Values, character. Now, the formation and the shaping of character, that is training. The creation of character in a very skillful manner. That is, you are making the person skillful in character, skillful in behavioral patterns and attitude, skillful in the management of emotions, in the management of temperaments, in the management of feelings, skillful in responses, in reactions to issues, responses to issues, skillful in actions and reactions. These are the things that make for the totality of the training of a child. Not leaving behind the background need for the nursing and the provisional supplies and supports. But most importantly, the training is God's concern. Now, this is where we're coming from. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, that when he is old, he shall not depart from it. You get it? Now, so you will understand something. That the man who was speaking was noted and is still noted as one of the wisest men that ever lived. One of the wisest men that ever trod the face of the earth. Whose blueprint of wisdom, whose footprints upon the sand of time can never be erased by any form of ripple effect of a flooding water. The flooding waters of civilization cannot erase this man's wisdom and relevance over the ages. Now, that's the man called Solomon, the wisest king ever produced in the midst of Israel. Now, this man says, train up a child. Now, this was not a perfect man. This was not a perfect man. This was a man with a lot of flaws, a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors. But of course, who would recognize errors better than a man who himself have experienced a life of error? Of course, who would understand A misled path better than a man who has ever trodden that path himself. Who would know vanity better than a man who himself has experienced vanity? You needed to have experienced some level of vanity to know the cost, the price, and the implication of vanity. Now, I want to share this with you. Children are not supposed to dictate for you parents how you are supposed to train them, because they are not with the blueprints. A child is not supposed to tell you, I don't like eating this, because he's not with the blueprint. You teach the child what you learn, what you want them to learn to eat. You build everything that has to do with the culture, with the adaptations of that child. The child does not adapt you to what they want. You adapt them to what they want, because you are the one with the blueprints. You are the one who knows better. Thank God for children, right? For value for children, for AIDS for children, and all of those things that exist in our current world. But don't you also know that they are the reasons, they are some of the contributing factors to the reasons why there are lots of recklessly wild children who do not know their left from their right, so they become grown-up adults, children that transfer the foolishness of childhood into adulthood, children that are carryovers of some of the excesses of childhood into adulthood. For instance, by the time you're raising a child, and you see that your child is beginning to show some tendencies of violence, of being highly temperamental, of being a personality that can easily get angry, that can easily snub people, that can easily decide not to talk to anybody, that can easily decide to cave into their shells, that can easily decide not to be kind in their words, not to be in any way relational, that you can find traces of selfishness, you can find traces of indignation, rage, anger. You can find all of these traces when they are children.